So I just got the news about Charlie Kirk's passing, if you want to call it that, because that's a very light way of describing what actually took place. And this one's tough. This one's pretty devastating, guys, because all this political crap, all this left side and right side and Democrats and Republicans and all of this division, all of this division, it only serves to ruin our future. That's all it does. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I was literally quadding and I got the news about Charlie getting shot here. And it's devastating because all of this stuff about all this political crap and whatnot, I don't care what side you're on. There's truly only a good side and a bad side. The good side allows other people to discuss what they need to. The good side doesn't resort to this kinds of violence. The good side doesn't do all of this hatred type stuff. That's not what the good side does. The bad side does this kinds of stuff. It's not political. There's good and bad Democrats. There's good and bad Republicans. There's, all of this stuff. We are now living in an age where everything is so magnified and the hatred is so strong. And everybody is going to come to their own conclusions about what took place with this. And you're going to be looking at, could it have been a lone gunman? Sure. Could it have been a group that conspired to do this? Sure. Would you even get the real story? Probably not, but maybe, right? Could this have been, the Democratic Party silencing the other side? Sure, kind of stuff happens. Could this have been the Republican side turning their own guy into a martyr to bolster their views on the world? Of course. And you, me, and probably nobody else is ever going to find out. And the problem is that with this stuff, the division that this will cause, whether it brings people together on one side or it makes people fearful on another, you're going to have a situation where some people are going to be really bolstered in their beliefs, whether good or not, their beliefs, but they're going to be bolstered in them. They're going to be reinforced. And then you're going to have others who are now going to be afraid to speak up for what they believe in. I would say that this is another one of those shots heard around the world. And the level of emotion that I felt having gotten this news, this stopped me dead in my tracks. It really did. Like, it's getting dark now. I got mosquitoes flying around my head. There is so much going on in this world, and there is so much that is being uncovered. And when you're nobody, you can have a voice as much as you want. When you're nobody and you're not important. But the problem is, the more important that you become, the more that you have to curate how you discuss things and how you put yourself out there. Because since you become more important, you effectively are now more heavily scrutinized. I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or any libertarian. Who cares? These are just names, guys. At the end of the day, we should all want the same thing. We should all want peace. We should all want prosperity. We should all effectively come together for a better tomorrow. Imagine a community where everybody didn't think that the others were out to get them and didn't think that they always had to watch yourself or lock your doors or this. And listen, that's a fairy tale. That does not exist here any longer. But if indeed somehow in our communities, at the very least, we could come together and we could just try to support one another. And, as I talk about work together for a better tomorrow, it's not out of reach to do it within the microcosms of which you actually control. Your families and your friendships and things of that nature. Your neighbors. When's the last time you had full-blown conversations with your neighbors? Probably don't even want to deal with them. Everybody's just wrapped up in their phones. This man getting shot today, dude, he leaves behind 2 young children. And that shouldn't be the case. That there shouldn't be 2 young kids growing up without a father. That's dead wrong. Regardless of what you believe, that should be something that is paramount, that we all agree on. Kids shouldn't be growing up without a father that got shot for simply discussing things that he believed in. It doesn't matter if he discussed things you didn't like. There's things about me you probably won't like. Do I deserve to be shot too? It's just, there's so much going on in the world. There's so much going on with different people, greed, psychopathy, and the people that run things. And they all have their motives. They all have their goals. And I don't know. Was Charlie taken out because of that? Because he opposed these types of things? Because he talks similar to how maybe I'm talking right now? He was probably a much better orator than me. He was able to make his points and debate, listen to the points of the other people as long as they made sense, acknowledge them. And now he's dead. And it's extremely upsetting that this is where we're at. And the other problem is that we are now at a point in history that has never occurred before that I am aware of, where you are not going to know what is reality and what is falsity. You are going to have no clue. You're going to see things on the internet that are going to polarize you further than you ever have, especially if you're really wrapped up in your views. You're going to see things that have never occurred because of AI. You are going to see things that you believe are real, and they're not. They're not. You'll see Trump saying things that he didn't. You'll see Putin doing things he never did. And that is going to further form your opinions and your ideas. And this kinds of violence, this kinds of hatred of others, if indeed this was done just by some random person thinking that they're doing right because they're angry, the polarization of people is going to increase. That's what's going to happen. And you take it a step further, as AI develops more and more, as we move forward in technological advances, you're going to eventually have people who hook themselves up directly to, computers or this, that, and the other. Whatever they're going to do, put chips in it, whatever the hell they are planning, right? You think they're not going to use this technology to input thoughts into your minds? Of course they are. This isn't sci-fi. This is reality. They've already been experimenting with certain ear devices, seeing if they could input thoughts into people's minds just by vibrating into your mind. That stuff's real. It sounds crazy, but it's real. Well, what happens when everybody's hooked up to all this crap and getting thoughts literally implemented like some hive mind crap? Because we already have echo chambers on social media. We already have all these people in social media, the algorithms, they reflect your views back to you. It curates what you see, all the comments and all the posts that are recommended, on and so forth. And all it does is it bolsters your own views, but it doesn't show you the views of the opposite side. So it gets you entrenched in things. And you know what's amazing? Depending on what you believe, a lot of times if you sit down and you have a full-blown discussion with the opposing with the opposing people, see, I'm not as good a talker as Charlie, but anyways, if you sit down and you have discussions with the opposing people who are literally able to articulate why they feel the way that they do without getting into fighting, without screaming, without resorting to violence, without all this kinds of stuff, name calling it on and so forth, a lot of times you find out sometimes they have a point. To be honest, typically they do. But if you had never listened to them, you would never know. Sometimes they're just crazy. Crazy exists too. But when I got the news today that Charlie had been shot, and I saw the video of him getting shot and trying to grab it, I mean, that being done in public, and it shouldn't be done in general, but that being done in public, the hatred that is in this world about it, tomorrow is promised to nobody. And, you know, this is what makes life precious today. And I'm very upset about this. I was quite emotional, actually. A deer just jumped out. I swear to God, a deer just jumped out and just spooked me over back here. Anyways, whatever. I was very emotional today when I got the news, and it freaks me out because it's like, if nothing else, he was opening people's minds. This was not an evil person. This was somebody who was discussing his views in as much of respectful formats as he was able to do. And he was somebody who he spoke against certain groups and establishments. And the problem is that a lot of people live under a rock and they don't realize that there are certain groups that run this world. And listen, I'm nobody talking about this stuff, right? You know, I don't have a target on my back or anything, but it's still reality. There are groups that run things and they will stop at nothing. This isn't legal. They're not going to go through proper channels. There are groups that run things, and you are either with them or you're in their way. And it's possible Charlie was in the way of these people, because even if it was a lone gunman, was it a sleeper cell? Was it somebody who was put up to it? Was it somebody who was, blackmailed? Listen, you have no idea, and neither do I, and we'll never know the whole story. But it's really frustrating because he was definitely known as a bastion for freedom. He wanted everybody to be able to own their houses. He wanted everybody to have freedom of speech, the right to property, the right to defend it. I don't think there's many people who can argue with these things. Why would you argue that? You don't want property? You don't want to be able to defend your property? There were a lot of views that he probably had that maybe were shared with the shooter, but the shooter didn't want to know that. It was an echo chamber. And what sucks is that what's the repercussions of this? You probably get a lot more hatred on the conservative side for the opposing side. And you don't even know if anything happened. You don't even know if that's what it was. And again, we live in a world of AI and stuff. Whatever story comes out, you don't even know if that's true. So I'm just encouraging you to try to critically think, to try to just put things that you see through a lot of filters as we move into a world that reality is going to bend. And try to do what you believe is right. Try to be good to other people. And I think it would behoove all of us to stop thinking about your side, my side, and start thinking about being on the side of humanity, being on the side of good, regardless of differing ideologies about different things. There's quotes like, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. That's true. That's true. I got a mosquito here. That's true. You have two eyes. Well, if they're both gone, you're blind. An eye for an eye. So who's going to get shot next? Is it going to be on their side? Because does that solve anything? Nope. You're going to leave another family without people. You're going to leave another family without a father or a mother or something to that effect. And it's very emotional to me, very upsetting. This guy, he shared a lot of ideas and such. He spoke very well. And now you're in a situation where he's gone. And he doesn't deserve to be gone, regardless of what you believe. This was not how this was supposed to go. with that said, I think it's much more important to try to share love as much as you can to strangers, to people that you know. Someone cuts you off, whatever, let it go. It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. Try to just better yourselves. Try to, control what you can. Try to be good to people. There's enough people out there that are not being good to people. You don't have to be one of them. You don't have to conform. See, another deer just jumped out, but I didn't get scared of that one because now I know there's animals all around me. Anyways, you don't have to become part of the camp that's nasty to everybody. You don't have to. It's your choice how you treat others. Your past does not define your present. You define your present by choosing and being conscious of the decisions of which you're making. And I really hope there's not terrible repercussions from this, because this is a very well-known man, and this is not like taking out somebody who, doesn't matter. I hope that this doesn't result in more violence. I hope this doesn't result in, I don't know, martial law or freaking people, trying to retaliate in one way, shape, or form, because the people you retaliate against typically are your neighbors. They're not the people who are actually behind anything. And if we could all just unify and come together and stop trying to tear each other down and just work together, well, maybe we could actually get to the root of the problem. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyways, I gotta load up. I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes. I wish his family well. Obviously, I wish him well, but, I think he's in a better place now. It saddens me for his kids. Growing up without a father, that sucks. That really does. It's a very sad day, and I don't want to cry here, but I'm definitely emotional. I hope he rests in peace, Charlie. I hope you rest in peace. I think you were doing good work here. Let's all try to love each other more, guys. That's what's important. Not about division, not about retaliation. Learning to love one another despite differences. That's what we should be doing.